You know what no one will tell you, and this is the truth. All these critiques about The Last of Us 2 as a game are pointless. I could sit here and proselytize about the and all that crap, but the truth is, it's just a bad game. It sucks. There's no critique, there's no big, huge, whatever. It's just a bad game. It's an unneeded sequel that should have been its own story, not attached to the first game. Killing Joel, not killing Joel, it didn't matter. The second game sucked because it just sucked. 5 minutes into the story of the second game, I literally wanted to turn it off, but because I'm a completionist, I finished it. Took me a couple of months though, because I kept stopping because the game would get on my nerves. All that crap they shoved into it, the messaging, the forced whatever, it just was stupid. And no, I'm not talking about the gay stuff and the transgender stuff. I have no issue with that stuff. It was fine. I actually thought the idea of Lev's story was great. Would have made a great game on its own. I would have loved to play a game as Lev and have to get over the fact that your entire village wants to kill you because you don't want to be a child bride. That would have been awesome. Abby's story, the story of a girl trying to get revenge for her father's death at the hands of some guy. Let's look at the truth. That would have been a great story on its own. But because they tried to shove this narrative into a narrative that was already complete, finished, settled, good, they fucked it up. The Last of Us 2 tried to extend a story that was done. We all know why Joel did what he did, and there's no critique to try and explain that Joel was the bad guy and blah, blah, blah. Joel did what he did, simple fact, because Ellie was his new daughter. It was a story of redemption. Joel started out the story as a loving father. He lost the most important person in the world to him. He became a cold, disgusting, merciless person. And through Ellie, he found his humanity again. And at the end of the game, he did what he did because the Fireflies were fucking crazy. No cure would have changed the fact that the world had already fallen to a place where humanity were eating each other. Cannibals. People were setting traps for each other. All the cities were destroyed, wrecked, blown off the face of the earth. There was no way to distribute this cure. There was no way to do anything that even seemed like it made sense. The infected roamed the countryside, in the woods, in the cities, killing people. Physically killing people. The infection's not the dangerous part. The fucking zombies will kill you. They will rip you apart. So, cure or no cure, the zombies will still exist. You can't cure a clicker and turn that back into a person. You can't make a bloater a human again. And it's obvious that there were entire dens of infected. Spores everywhere. What was a cure going to do for any of that? There would still be infected that could tear your face off. Cure or no cure. So at the end of the day, Joel decided that the Fireflies were just going to kill Ellie for a cure for humanity that no longer existed. And so he did what he had to do to protect his new surrogate daughter. He did what he couldn't do when that soldier shot Sarah. He fought back. It was a great game. It had a good conclusion. It was over. It was done. Finished. We didn't need to know if Ellie ever found out that Joel lied. The Last of Us 2 shouldn't have been The Last of Us 2. It should have been a totally different story. Could have been set in the same world even. But it should have been a totally different story. It had nothing to do with Ellie and Joel. They drug Ellie and Joel into this new narrative, and the only thing they did was they basically made us go, fuck Ellie, fuck Joel, Abby is our girl. I did not like Abby's character for one simple reason. Her and her father spoke, and you saw in the flashbacks that her and her father spoke. She was perfectly fine with killing a child for a cure that would help no one. Do you think anyone was going to take this cure the Fireflies came up with when everybody is out there surviving and doing what they got to do? How are they supposed to distribute it? How are they supposed to get it to the people? None of that mattered. The only matter was, let's kill this little girl and maybe we can make a cure. Because what happens if when Ellie was cut open, the cordyceps died that was in her brain? Now you just killed this little girl for nothing. There were too many different things that could have went wrong. And Joel saw that and did what he did. Simple as that. No big critique needed. But we keep proselytizing and we keep trying to explain this game. And I've watched 72 videos trying to explain this game. Why it sucked, why it was great. Simple truth, end of the day. It was a shitty sequel. It maybe could have been a grand narrative, a great narrative on its own. But as a sequel, it sucked. It basically shoved into our faces, you should hate Joel. He's a bad man. He killed this girl's father. How many fathers do you think Abby's dad killed just to survive? How many mothers? How many mothers and fathers do you think Abby killed to survive? When you say that out loud to yourself, there goes your critique. There goes all that crap. It doesn't matter. Everyone in that world had killed somebody at some point to survive. So trying to say that Joel killed Abby's dad and this is her excuse for being able to kill Joel is bullshit. It's straight bullshit. In the world of The Last of Us, everyone had to kill somebody to survive. Everyone has committed murder. Everyone has committed some kind of violence. Everyone has done something disgusting to someone else in that game's world. So trying to single out what Joel did to Abby, what Abby did to Joel, what Ellie did to is bullshit. In the world of The Last of Us, you had to survive, and that's just all it was survival. No one was thinking about whose dad or whose mom they killed. It's all survival. So trying to force a narrative that, oh, we should feel like Joel is a bad guy because he killed this whole hospital full of terrorists who was blowing up normal, innocent people to get at Fedra, which they did. The Fireflies were bombing shit and blowing shit up, and they did not care who got killed when they did it, as long as they could get at Fedra. So the Fireflies were not good guys either. There are no good guys in The Last of Us. The name of the game tells you The Last of Us. That could mean a lot of things. The last of humanity, the last of our morality, the last of our humanity. A lot of things. But all it means is that humanity has changed because the game says the truth. Humanity failed. The cordyceps came along and it blew all that normal shit out the water. So now it's all about survival. At the end of the game, Joel killed all the Fireflies. He shot Marlene in the face. He killed Abby's dad, who was some scientist. It's just not a good narrative. It sucked. The story sucked. And you could tell it was just a forced extension of a done story that had nowhere else to go. So let's kill Joel. Let's talk about the guy who tried to cut Ellie's brain open and whatever. That game ran out of steam after the first 5 minutes. After Abby killed Joel, that was pretty much it. There was no more story. Being completely honest, the whole story of Ellie packing up her shit and going to Seattle and hunting down these WLF members or whatever was just stupid. It wasn't insightful. It was stupid. And then the idea of all these pregnant women putting themselves in all types of danger, knowing that they're pregnant, was really stupid. Dina, knowing that she was pregnant, ran off with Ellie to go get revenge for whatever, and then what was her name? I forget her name. The whatever the lady name was from the WLF, who also was being really stupid and going out into the battlefield pregnant. My thing is, why are you even getting pregnant in that world anyway? There are zombie mushroom people running around killing everybody, and you having a baby? Why would you want to bring a baby into that world? It's just weird and stupid and forced. Not to mention, any chick in that game could have been pregnant and you murdered 100 different women. A lot of the scars were mostly female, if I remember. So, how many pregnant women do you think we killed in that game? How many mothers do you think we killed? How many fathers do you think we killed? The narrative loses all of its meaning when you think of it like that. Everyone in that game could have had a parent or a sister or a brother or somebody who wanted to come back and get revenge. So the narrative falls apart right there. Neil Druckmann is just a pretentious fool who don't know what he's talking about. And the whole story of Lev was a good idea, but it was just put into a game that it didn't need to be in. There are a lot of cultures out here where girls are forced to marry young to men to be child brides. That story is real. It touches on a real subject. But the forced part of it is what made it suck. Okay, Lev was a young girl who was going to be forced to be a child bride, so she cut off her hair and became who she wanted to be. A warrior, a fighter, a soldier. Not necessarily a boy, but, you know, like, you had to force that idea to, oh, she wanted... Mulan did the same thing, okay? Let's be honest. Mulan did the same thing. They wouldn't let her fight as a girl, so she cut off her hair, dressed up in her father's armor, and pretended to be a boy. Lev's story is just Mulan, but more violent and with all this sexual identity politics thrown in there. So in the middle of The Last of Us 2, we get a shitty revenge narrative and a forced rip-off Mulan story. Good job, Neil Druckmann. Good job.